All right, hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Model Monday Live, where we challenge you to take a 2D drawing and turn it into a 3D model as quickly as possible, competing against some of the fastest and best CAD users in the world. And it's so great to see everybody here in the chat. As always, we love recognizing the chat pros and saying hello to everybody. So welcome, one and all, and welcome, of course, to our amazing chat. Let me see if I can bring up the large chat here. Hello. We covered it up. Super large chat today. Let's see if we can scoot this over a bit. Hello, one and all. Uncle Facepound is here in the chat. Says good Model Monday Live to everybody. Hello, Eric. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. Teach A6 is here. The CAD Queen, Kate, is here in the chat and joined us at the Buy Me a Cup of Seltzer Water. Thank you so much. I love my seltzer water. Maybe I'll see if I can find. It's pretty cold here today. I think I might just stick with coffee today. Has anybody been following the Winter Garden design streams? Yeah, I love the marble machine. I love watching the stuff that he puts together. It's definitely very impressive. In fact, I made an Onshape tutorial for the what's it called, the Sterling engine, and he commented on it and said thanks. Said good job. I like this tutorial. Felt very honored to have him commenting on my video. Larry is here. What's up, Larry? Hello. Gontis is here in the chat. Hello, my friend. FPV Kev is here. Welcome, one and all. Jim Yu is here. Hello. He's live designing a new marble machine. Shout out to TTT on Saturday stream. Nice. Oh, he gave me a shout out on the Saturday stream. Yo, that's sick. That's amazing. I gotta check that out. That's awesome. Hello to Hassan. Welcome. Mesa Makes is here. What's up, Corey? Welcome. Mr. Mesa. Let's go. Oh, that's awesome. Howdy, everyone. Mundane Superpower is here. Hello, my friend. Welcome, one and all. And let's get into it here today in this beautiful live stream. Jeff 3D, what's up? Welcome. Thanks for joining us. Great to see you in here once again. Guys, we got a good episode lined up today. Of course, the big news in the world of TooTallToby is that for the first time ever, we're hosting an exclusive tournament with the crew from Fusion, from Autodesk Fusion. So that is something big that is coming down the pike here. Now, we have had exclusive tournaments before for CAD systems. As you may remember, we worked with our good friend, Mr. Mesa, and did a tournament for his high school students using Onshape exclusively. But now we've got a tournament about to run. Qualifications end tomorrow. We'll officially run our first matches next week on Friday, all featuring Fusion. And I was pretty excited to see our good friend Matab in there on the leaderboard. Neil Z in there from previous tournaments as well. Some newcomers. Rambro's Workshop, the world champion of 3D CAD speed modeling, bringing the heat here in this leaderboard as well. And we continue to get entries throughout the day today. I think I saw Morty submitted another run today. So love seeing all these users trying to refine their CAD skills and really pushing Fusion to the max. It's always cool to see the different Fusion workflows. I saw Matab did something really cool with the circular pattern of the rib. If you haven't had a chance to watch his video, check it out. It was really cool how he circular patterned it and the rib grew in the patterns. What's up, Grapefruit? Welcome, Mr. Gray. Thank you for joining us today. All right, guys, let's get into it here. Of course, we're going to do 2 CAD speed modeling challenges for all of you, and we're going to have some live solves, some updates, and, of course, hang out with the best chat ever. And we couldn't have the TooTallToby community without all the great subscribers, the super thankers, the joiners, the likers, the tutorial makers, the super chatters, all the value for value folks, the Practice Models Premium subscribers, all the students out there, the sharers, the commentors, and, of course, the Discord crew. Thank you guys so much for making the TooTallToby community what it is. And let's get into it here. Don't forget, the easiest way to support the channel is to hit the like button, subscribe, share, and reshare. The Beatloaf is in the chat. Says, how tall are you? I'm tall enough that I've hit my head on plenty of stuff that most people would not have. Especially when we're outside for soccer and people throw up those 10 by 10 pop-ups. Man, those things, they tend to get me every time. You know, you just get into it. You get into the moment. You forget what's going on. Decide how tall normal is, and it's taller than that. Exactly. All right, guys, here's how this is going to work today. We're going to show you a 2D drawing. You're going to try to model it up. You're going to try to calculate the mass, and you're going to try to enter that mass directly into the YouTube chat. So you use your 3D CAD system. You try to calculate the mass. The thing is, the only way you're going to be able to calculate the mass is if you have the correct material density. So if you're here for the first time, maybe hit the print screen button on your computer, grab a screen capture of these densities, or visit us at TooTallToby.com/materials. And you can learn all about our materials that we use in the challenges here at TooTallToby.com and on Model Monday Live. You got to have the correct material density, or else you are not going to come up with the correct mass. And the basic rules are you can do this using any 3D CAD package. We have users in here using Creo, using SolidWorks, Onshape, Fusion, Inventor, CAD Key 7. We've got FreeCAD. You know, we've got a lot of different CAD programs in here. So you guys can do this using any 3D CAD package. Compass 3D, shout out to Lotos, Compass 3D. So you can use any 3D CAD package as long as you can input density, output mass. Make sure you use the specified precision when you answer the question, and the first person to answer correctly in the chat wins. And what do you win? You win a point on our coveted Model Monday Live leaderboard. So person with the most points at the end of the year will be declared the Model Monday Live champion. Maybe we'll get some prizes together for the champion this year. All right, and for the advanced rules, it's meant to be fun and good-spirited. Occasionally, I make mistakes, and the Ivan exploit is permitted. Maybe there's a spot where you could use it in this first one. I don't know. We'll see. We'll let you guys figure it out. All right, guys, as soon as we go full screen, this first challenge is going to be live. Start modeling it up and start entering your answers directly in the chat. Here we go. This 3D CAD challenge begins in 3, 2, 1. Go. So the question here is, what is the mass of this part in, let me see if I can move this up a little, in XXXX grams? What is the mass of this part in XXXX grams? The tolerance is plus or minus 1 gram. Wow, only 1 gram across XXXX grams. But this is a pretty analytic part, right? It shouldn't be that hard to just nail it. It should be spot on. You guys should be getting this one spot on. The Beatloaf says, just discovered this channel. This is so cool. Welcome, my friend. Good luck. It's you against the world. Who's the fastest 3D CAD speed modeler in the chat? That's what we're going to find out. This is kind of a cool part. I like the arced slotted holes. I always like models that have slotted holes in them. So having the arced slotted holes is an extra little bonus. I like that. Guys, don't forget to hit the like button if you like these kinds of challenges. Even if you're not participating, hit the like button. But this is a fun one. We're getting ourselves ready for tournament season here. This is definitely the kind of model that would show up in the tournament. Gray will be finished before the print disappears. Gray is one of the fastest modelers we have in the chat. And he may indeed be finished before the print disappears. We'll see. All right. All right, guys, good luck with this model. This is a pretty fun one. I love these kinds of models where you have several different techniques you could use to create the geometry. The obvious technique would be a revolve, but you don't have to use a revolve. There could be other techniques you use, and that is up to each and every one of you to decide how you want to do this. But definitely a fun model. I like these ones that are kind of complicated but don't have like a crazy amount of dimensions, though we do definitely have some dimensions in this thing. We like to have dimensions, you know. All right. Listen, we're going to continue on here, and while you guys are modeling that, we'll talk a little bit about the world of TooTallToby. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't forget to share and reshare. And yeah, if you like what we're doing here, let your friends know, let your text chat know. Even if you don't have social media, you probably still have a text group. It might just be your family. It might just be your aunt and your uncle. Who knows? Maybe your grandma is really into 3D CAD speed modeling and you never knew. And this is your chance to reconnect. We see our first answer coming in. Of course, we're not going to tell you if the answer is correct until the halfway mark in the live stream, about half an hour into the live stream. So we'll see who gets it correct. We'll find out who has the correct answer. And Matab, it's great to see you in the chat again. Let us know what CAD system you're using for these challenges. I'm curious if you're warming up for the big tournament or if you're reverting back to your most common CAD system. Guys, don't forget this week your challenge is to tell one coworker about the channel. Get out there and say, hey, did you hear about TooTallToby? Have you heard about these 3D CAD speed modeling challenges? Have you heard about the tournaments? Have you heard about Practice Models Premium? If not, this is your chance to find out more. Check them out. Visit the YouTube channel. And in the world of TooTallToby, of course, one of the bigger pieces of news that has happened more recently is that we have officially eclipsed the 300 club. And what that means is if you go to TooTallToby.com, we've got a library of over 300 of these 2D to 3D challenges where you can bring up a 2D drawing and you can attempt to turn that 2D drawing into a 3D model. Well, now that we have gone beyond 300 challenges, we can see here in the leaderboard, in the scoreboard, in the community scoreboard, we now have members of the community that have done over 300 of these challenges. And look at this one, CAD from Norway, really paying close attention. We just released number 312 here, just a little bit before the live stream. And CAD got in there and already finished it. It's not a difficult model, but this user is paying attention. I like that Norway flag, too. That thing is sharp looking. And, of course, good friend of the show, Atse, here, number 2 on the leaderboard. 311 models. Guys, all these people have more than 300 points, 300 models here. Very, very impressive. Very, very impressive. From all over the world. Look at this Puerto Rico flag. That flag's pretty sharp looking, too. Very nice. Very nice. Yo, let's go. Let's go. I like this. All right, sorry. Just looking at all the different finishers here. So yeah, guys, the 300 club is alive and active, and if you want to get into that club, visit us at TooTallToby.com, and you can start working your way through the library of CAD challenges. Of course, on the YouTube front, we've been continuing to release Power Moves videos. One of the more recent ones we released was about how to edit a sketch pattern. We'll get back into the groove on those pretty soon. I was doing some traveling last week, so wasn't able to kind of keep up with that, but we'll get back into the groove. And as far as the other big YouTube news, you know, we've been doing a lot on the Onshape channel as well. If you haven't had a chance to check it out, visit the Onshape channel. We've been posting a lot of stuff on there. One of the most recent things we posted was on how easy it is to go into Onshape and then access the custom features, which are scripted in the Onshape programming language called FeatureScript. So what this means basically is if you want to create geometry in Onshape, if you wanted to, for example, create a sweep in Onshape, normally what you would think you would have to do is you would think you would have to create the geometry for the sweep path and then create a new sketch plane and then create the geometry for the sweep profile. Matav says, joining in the midst of exams. Nice, 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 nice. So normally what you would think you would have to do if you wanted to create a sweep in Onshape is you would have to create your sweep path, and then you would have to go back in and create your sweep profile, right? That's the correct order to create geometry when you're doing a sweep. So if it's creating like a tube or something like this. But the thing is, if you just go up here in this icon here in Onshape, you can do a search for custom features. And when you do that search for custom features, you'll find that there's a feature in there called Profile Sweeper. So what does Profile Sweeper do? It lets you just pick this one line here and then indicate what the diameter is that you're trying to sweep along that line. And then boom, you're done. So this is kind of it's an interesting thing that occurs in Onshape. A lot of times you'll be going through Onshape and you'll ask yourself, like, doesn't Onshape have that feature? Isn't there an easier way to do this? Isn't there an easier way to have that feature? And the answer is, yeah, you can definitely find a lot of features that maybe are not in the vanilla version of Onshape just by searching here in your custom tools. And I just released a video on the Onshape YouTube channel. If you visit the Onshape YouTube channel, you'll see the video that I made. It looks like a little U-bolt, threaded U-bolt on the thumbnail. And we talk all about how you can easily get in there and find all kinds of cool features. The ones I showed in the video were like the thread creator, the ability to do a point-driven pattern in Onshape, and the multi-mirror tool. But there's plenty more that you can find depending on what it is that you're trying to accomplish in Onshape. So be on the lookout for that. We definitely love our partnership with Onshape and creating videos for the Onshape team. It's a lot of fun to make those videos. Hassan says, my answer's not showing up for some reason. This is the third time happening. Yeah, I think YouTube has some filters in it, Hassan, that will kind of like block you from... Honestly, I think that it might be because mass has a curse word in it, kind of. So if you copy and paste mass, or if you like miss the M in mass, you'll sometimes get blocked by YouTube. So when in doubt, you could always just try to type it in. Just type in the numbers instead of copying and pasting. That typically resolves it. Or you could type a couple of words in front of it. It's interesting, all these people getting this weird symbol in front of their... Are you guys seeing that too on your end, or is it just on my end? Is my computer like wigging out? All these people are getting these kind of interesting symbols in their, you know, in front of the symbol here. In front of the mass. Seen that now come in a couple of times. Says, I think it was a comma. There you go. Vicky says, I don't see that. Yeah, what is it for? CLS. Yeah, no, I don't think it's a CLSYM. It does look like that kind of. Just your end. All right, good. Great. No problem. Just my computer blowing up. That's good. Good to know. Very cool. Yeah. My answer is, it's always good to type that too. My answer is, or my answer was. Had to file. Oh, that's interesting. FPV Kev says, I made a couple of those ratchet toys. Had to file the hexes. It was such a tight fit. Yeah, I think I only really made the one of those. I think the one that's the most popular is just the hex bolt and the nut. That's the one that I've noticed. If you print out one of those hex bolt and nut assemblies, and then or the two parts, and then you give it to somebody, they will fidget. They will fidget with it. It passes the Turing test for fidgeting. So definitely a fun model there. Check that out if you guys haven't had a chance to do that. All right, as you guys are going through your career, if you're ever interested in learning more about SolidWorks, we do have a SolidWorks course, TooTallToby.com/training. Go from zero to hero. You can become a certified SolidWorks professional in 30 days. It's a pretty fun little path there. Start with a 30-minute quick start, totally for free, and then you can get into SolidWorks 101 and the CSWP training. These prices are actually a little bit lower than what we're showing on screen here, and when you bundle them together, you get an even better deal. So TooTallToby.com/training. Or, of course, if you're ever interested in custom training, if you ever want me to come on site, we just did some traveling last week, and part of what I did was some custom training on site. And so if you ever want me to come on site, visit you at your company in person, live in-person training, a lot of times your company will have a budget for that. And so all you need to do is talk to your training coordinator or the engineering manager and say, hey, we know this guy who's real good at SolidWorks. We could have him come out and teach us some tips and tricks, and then all of us would be faster. And the company would make more money because we're all working faster. And I would love to come out and visit you and talk to you about that custom training. So feel free to reach out anytime. Aaron C. is in the chat. Says, what's good, everybody? Long time no see, my friend. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Very cool. I've returned from my sabbatical. Yeah, oh, good. Well, welcome back, my friend. Welcome, welcome back. Everybody say hello to Aaron C. in the chat. Great to see him in here. All right, guys, like I said earlier in the live stream, we are having an Autodesk Fusion, possibly having, I like how I leave the door open in case things go off the rails. We're possibly having an Autodesk Fusion exclusive tournament coming up here in April. One more day to qualify for that tournament. If you use Autodesk Fusion, or if you just want a new challenge, you could get in here and you could utilize a new CAD system, and you can try out Autodesk Fusion, and then you can qualify for the tournament. That's what my tab did. Just try out a new CAD system, qualify for the tournament. Boom. It's just that easy. And finally, I just want to remind you guys that we are going to be using the TooTallToby practice models app for the second half of the show today. In the first half of the show, you're going to model up the part and enter in the mass directly in the chat. But in the second half of the show, you're going to see here that at the TooTallToby.com website, you can sign up for free. You can sign up totally for free. And then when we access the full library here, after you sign up totally for free, you're going to see here that in the library, at the top of the library, there's this area called Featured Models. And the Featured Models here are sponsored by our friends over at Xometry. You can still save some money off your first order. I think this coupon works until the end of March. You can save money on your first order, and Xometry does manufacturing on demand. Well, Xometry sponsors our featured models as well. And so you can see here at the top of the library, Okay, we looked at this library a little earlier. These are all 2D to 3D CAD challenges. You can challenge yourself, and you go against the clock when you do these. So just like what we're doing here today, you can go against the clock and you say go, and then you can see here you can try to model this part up, and you're trying to model this up against the clock. And it's a lot of fun. You know, it's cool if you get the answer wrong, it tells you right away. So if you enter it in wrong, it tells you right away, and then you get a chance to go back in and revise your answer and see if you can do that any faster. And so you can see here that at the top of this library, we've got this area that's called featured challenges. Okay, we have some free models to help you get started, including these featured challenges. And in just a few moments, the second challenge for today is going to land here. We're going to have the second challenge show up here, and then you're going to have the chance to do that challenge. And then what we'll see is that inside of the challenge, we have a tracker that lets us know who completed the model from the time it was released. We call it the first 42 leaderboard. And this first 42 tells us how fast someone finished it from the time it was released. So last week it was Gray who finished it 6 minutes and 37 seconds from the time it was released. And so Gray was able to earn that point from last week. So make sure that you have visited TooTallToby.com. Make sure that you're all nice and signed up for the website, on the website, for the website, so that you will be ready to enter in your answer in the second part of the show. We do a lot of stuff on practice models. We release about 10 models every month, and the models have a ton of variety. So you can see here, it's like a part that's kind of shelled out, a multi-body part, a patterned part, a wire swept part, a woodworking part. Lots of different variety here. So it's kind of like a gym for your CAD brain. You can come in, you can check out the practice models library and just kind of model up some geometry that you might not normally do at your office. Of course, if you get stuck, we got lots of tutorials. We got lots of videos to help you get unstuck. So be sure to check it out, the practice models library. We were just talking a few moments ago about this ratchet toy that we drew up all the parts for it. We give you all the drawings for it so you can model it up and then actually 3D print this thing out. Sounds like the hex is maybe a little bit too snug. I think FPV Kev said he had to file that down. So be sure to check that out. And oh, I see. Thank you. Uncle Facepound comes in with the super chat. Yo, thank you, my friend. That is awesome. Appreciate it. Just noticed we had some super chat there in the chat. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And then one of the new things we just added to the TooTallToby library, speaking of Uncle Facepound, I know he's got a challenge in there that's about to be approved. One of the new things that we added to the TooTallToby library is a new section here called User Submitted Challenges. So we've got over 300 drawings that I've created that I've shared with the community to try to model. But we've also got a section here called User Submitted CAD Challenges, where people from the community are building their own drawings and then challenging other members of the community to complete. So if you haven't had a chance to check that out, there's some pretty interesting, pretty unique geometry in there. Refreshing to see some kind of new styles of drawing and really fun models as well. So be sure to check those out as well. The user submitted challenges, all available here in the TooTallToby library. And most of the challenges are you can get started for free. You can get started for free. I think there's usually about 10 models that are available for free. And then if you really like the way these challenges work, if you feel like you're getting better at 3D CAD, you can sign up to unlock the entire library, Practice Models Premium. And of course, we couldn't do all the cool stuff we do without our friends Bodie McBoatpants and Hoobie 3D FX. If you ever see those guys in chat or see them in the Discord, they are amazing, and they are truly powering what's going on behind the scenes here. So thank you so much to both of our developers. All right, guys, don't forget, in the second half of the show, you got to be signed up on TooTallToby, get a free account, get in there with Discord, and then you can access these challenges for the second half of the show. And the big announcement today is that we are getting ourselves ready for the tournament. The tournament is going to be starting next week on Friday, and I hope that we'll see a lot of you in the chat during that tournament. But the other thing I just wanted to mention is that the other big piece of news we've been talking about is that this week, April 1st, we're going to officially release a new platform for STEM educators and STEM students. So be on the lookout for that as well. We'll continue to make announcements about that. But there are some great tools in there to help STEM educators and to help STEM students learn 3D CAD. And we'll talk more about this next week. Jern says, LOL, you chose April 1st. Yep, April 1st is when we're kicking things off here for this. It's gonna happen, and we're gonna be like, just kidding. No, we're gonna actually do it. So we'll be sure to share some more information about that with you next week. But the big announcement this week, like I said, is the upcoming tournament for Fusion users. So definitely be on the lookout for that. All right, guys, don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to share and reshare. And I just got to take care of one quick thing here, and then we will reveal the answer. So if you haven't had a chance to submit your answer for the previous model, for the model from the first half of the show, this is your final. You're gonna get like not even 2 minutes. You're gonna get like 1 more minute to do that. And I'm just getting some stuff ready here for the second half of the show, so you guys will be able to do this challenge. It's kind of a fun one. I like this one. I like the way this one came out. All right, here we go. Good luck to everybody with the answer for that first one. I think you guys are going to do great. All right. And I think this is probably good here. Oops. There we go. All right. Cool. Let's keep going. Good song. Good music today. All right, guys, let's get into the answer for the first half of the show. We're going to take a look here at this challenge. Kind of a fun challenge. I think for me, what I would probably do with this challenge is I would begin with my origin down here. Always important to decide on your origin. I begin with the origin down here, and I would probably create this shape as a revolved shape, something like this, and then revolve that solid. And then I honestly, if I'm already in revolve mode and I'm already on the front plane, I might consider just doing this as a revolve as well from that same plane. Well, actually, it would be this shape. It'd be half of that. And revolve that solid as well. And then once I've got the 2 revolves in there, then I would go back through and hog this thing out by adding in another revolve here and maybe just a cut extrude over here. And then that's just going to leave me with the final cuts. So I'll create a cut with a circular pattern here, and then create a cut with a circular pattern here, and then I should be pretty much done with that thing. So not super complicated if you can kind of think through what the what the order of feature creation is. But that's always the trick, right? That's what we see in the tournament every time. We see these guys who are really quick at looking at the model and then immediately choosing a path of feature creation, and that's really what it's all about. So here we go. Let's take a look. Let's see who got this answer correct. I'm going to bring up the chat here. And we'll make this a little bit bigger. And we'll kind of go through and see who got it correct. Who got it correct and who got it correct first. I think it was Grapefruit who came in with the very first answer. I don't know if it was correct or not. Or maybe it was Matab, right? Matab came in with the first answer. Let's see. Here we go. Matab, 6388. Grapefruit, 6383. Nice. Grapefruit Revising, 6388. Let's see who else we got in here. We got Murtakin. Nice. 6484. Hassan, 6388. Let's see here. Larry comes in, 6394. Very nice. Murtakin, 6388. Hassan, 6388. Mundane Superpower, 6388. Very nice. Eric, 6388. Guntis, 6393. CAD Queen, 6393 as well. No exploits. Kate says no exploits. Uncle Facepound, 6388. Very nice. Very nice. Larry coming in here, 6388. Let's go. Guntis, 6388. I like it. I like it. And Fun Guy CAD 6388. Very nice. I like seeing the convergence of answers here. B Perry 6388. And let's see, anybody else come with some final answers? The CAD Queen says, don't solid number 6388. Nice. Mr. Thorne 6388. Very nice. Very nice. Good afternoon, Toby and the rest. Hope y'all had a great weekend. Thank you to Dive today. Very much appreciate it. How can I participate in the tournament? Just visit us at TooTallToby.com/tournaments and then scroll down a little bit and you'll see all the info you need. All right, here we go, guys. What is the correct answer? 6388 is the correct answer, plus or minus 1 gram. So that one is going to go to Matab. Guys, put a GG in the chat for Matab. Well done, my friend. Well done. Well done. Congratulations and well done. So Matab 6388, first person to answer correct in the chat. Well done. Well done. Good job. Streak continues. All right, guys. Appreciate all the GGs coming into the chat. And that is it for the first half of the show. And so for the second half of the show, what you're going to do is you're going to go to the website, TooTallToby.com, and you are going to sign up for a free account and then log in. And the second challenge is going to be there on the website. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show all of you the second challenge at the same time. The same time I release it on the website, I'm going to show it to all of you. And that way, we were running into an issue in the past with the website. Basically, what would happen is we would have everybody hit the website at the same time, and then like everything would slow down, and it would like sometimes it would glitch out or whatever. So I'll just show it to you here, and that way nobody's relying on the website refreshing. But just rest assured, the same time I'm showing it to you here, I'm also releasing it on the website. So let's get into it here and get your CAD ready. And don't forget, you have to answer on the website to get credit for this one. So we're gonna head on over to full screen here, and this next CAD challenge begins in 3, 2, 1, go. And so the question here is, what is the mass of this multi-body part or assembly in 0.xxx pounds? The tolerance on this one is plus or minus 0.001 pounds. You can see this thing is in IPS. It's a multi-body, multi-material challenge. So for the material, it says CBOM. For the density, it says CBOM. And so we can see here that we're going to look at the BOM. We see that the plastic feet, which there's 4 of them, quantity 4, are made from ABS. And the upper section and lower section are made from American Cherry. All right, so take a screen capture just like we did in the first half of the show. It's still, it's actually still being deployed on the website. It's taking a little longer than normal to get this onto the website. So just hold tight if you're trying to visit the website to get the drawing up over there, but it will be up momentarily. There we go. I think it just went up on the website, and I'll show you what that looks like in a moment as well. Now, the way that this thing works is that it's held together with a screw coming down from the top and then a threaded insert in the bottom. So you'll notice that you've got a counter bore on the top part of this thing and a counter bore on the lower part of this thing. Okay, it's called out in a few different places, and it's also called out in that detail view. So just be aware of that. If you miss that feature, you're not going to be within spec. You're going to go out of spec. So good luck, and try to take a screen capture of this print, and that way you'll be able to follow along with. I'm going to try to model this as well for all of you. I'll probably model this up using, I think I'll use Onshape today. Mix it up a little bit. Khalil is in the chat, says greetings. Greetings, my friend. Thank you for joining us. Great to see you in here. So go ahead and take a screen capture of that. Come up with a game plan. It is multi-body, multi-material. It's 2 wooden parts that kind of come together. Hold on a second. Sometimes, you know, we walk around the office or we walk around the house or we walk around wherever we are and we see things that we think to ourselves, this would be really cool to model. This is one of those times. So you can see here, got these 2 wooden parts fit together. One of them's got a threaded insert on it. Okay, one of them's got the opening for the machine screw. So there we go. That's how you bring parts together. That's how you bring parts into the digital world from the real world. I'll leave that there. We'll take a look at that again at the end. Khalil says, what's the symbol in green? The center line symmetric. It means everything on one side of this line is the same as everything on the other side of this line. Center line symmetric. Okay, it's important for understanding where things need to be centered. So, for example, like this notch over here, a little unorthodox to call out the notch in the isometric view, I know, but I felt like the detail view, like things were getting a little too busy. So for this notch here, the 0.55 wide, well, what is that 0.55 dimensioned off of? Well, because this is center line symmetric and this is center line symmetric, you know that 0.55 is centered. So, yeah, that's center line symmetric. That's what that symbol is. Means everything on one side is the same as everything on the other side about that center line. Yep, no problem. Good question. All right, so guys, let's give this a try. Okay, you're all out there modeling this thing. Let's give this thing a try. Don't forget, our featured models on the website are sponsored by our friends over at Xometry. If you visit Xometry.com, you can save some money on your first order using the code Toby20Spring. So we're going to do what's called a live solve here. We're going to do this using Onshape. So I'm going to get Onshape up here and just kind of drop it in here in the background. Maybe I'll bring up my keyboard cam as well so you can see any of the keyboard shortcuts I use as I'm creating this thing. And then I'm going to visit TooTallToby.com and I'm going to say access full library. So when you visit TooTallToby.com, you can access the full library. And even if you have a free account, there's going to be some challenges up top here that are available for you. And one of those challenges that's up top here is this 26-03-08. And if I say click here to practice, we can see this is a woodworking challenge, and we can see this is called stand for plant pot. And so far, nobody has completed this challenge. So hopefully we're going to become the first to complete this. I'm going to say click here to begin. And whoops, I always forget this because I kind of bounce back and forth between creating tutorials for Onshape and creating tutorials for SolidWorks. Let me change my CAD system here to Onshape. The cool thing is that when you're doing these challenges at TooTallToby.com, we'll provide you with feedback. We'll provide you with analytics about, you know, what CAD system you were using when you did the challenge. So if it is mapped to the wrong CAD system, it's good to update it before you do that challenge. So here you can see we're going to say we want to click here to begin. Look at this. Somebody already finished it. Wow, wow, wow. That's amazing. Somebody already got in there and finished it even before I got in there to do it. Oh, let's see here. Who went in to do it? Who answered it? Server error. Great. Yeah, I tried to set it in a way that we wouldn't get the server error. Basically, it's like a minimum solve time. Oh, man. This is gonna ruin the first 42. I think I need to set my minimum solve time lower. Stand by, guys. Ah, man. Yeah, we're just gonna have to answer in the chat on this one. It's like there's a flaw in our system where if you answer it too quickly, like under a second, you can cause it to glitch out. And once one person answers it, then it's fine. But if the very first person that answers in under a second, it glitches out the system. Well, you know, the problem is that when we're doing these speed runs here on the website, of course we want to try to answer as quickly as we can. So if you open the page after I finish my model, my solve time is going to be, I open the page after I finish my model, so my solve time is going to be like 2 seconds. Yeah. I mean, it might have been you, Aaron. I mean, obviously I'm not saying it's your fault, but I'm saying you might be the one who has to fix this. And so what you can do is if you go in here to my analytics and then you look down at this list, if you can find that challenge, and you can sort here by date. If you can find that challenge that you did and just delete it, then it'll open up the page for everybody again. They'll be able to answer again. Unfortunately, it invalidates the first 42, but it's still a chance for us all to answer. Man, I wish that wouldn't have happened. I worked so hard to get that model ready for today too. Can you not delete that? I can't delete your run. I have to have whoever submitted the answer in the short time, I have to have them delete it. So see if you can do it, guys. See if you can delete it. At least we can get some people in there and get them answering again. Let me see. Looks like whoever it was, they did delete it. So thank you. And let me just see if I can maybe set this minimum time down even lower. Oh, I had it at 1 second. I wonder if I can set it to, see, I think I tried this before as like a percentage of a second, and it didn't, the admin tool didn't let me post it that low. Yeah, it still seems like it rounds it up. Let me just try it again. Guys, I know this is a little bit of back end. We're doing some back end talk here. Okay, it's okay. It's Model Monday Live. It's still erroring out. Did I edit the wrong one last time or something? Well, listen, guys, if you're in there, if you were in there and you F5 squad, yeah. If you guys are in there, if it was anybody who's in here who did it in less than 1 second, if you can help me out a little bit, just go in here to my analytics and then change the sort these runs here by date, and then find the one that you did that was for this model, which is 26-03-08, and then just delete your run from here. So if you sort by date, you should be able to find the most recent one you did, and then just delete your run from here. And the reason that'll be beneficial is because I'm getting blocked out from editing it. Yeah, less than 1 second. Whoever did it. I mean, whatever. If anybody who has one in there that's complete with that challenge, if you can delete it, it'll help me. Don't worry, we'll still go through and solve this. It's just the solve will be better if we can. It's 03-08, 26-03-08. If we can go through and solve it and actually like see the results in the app, it'll be better. It'll be better for the tutorial too. And if not, we can just add it in there. I did it in 000771. Yeah, if you can delete yours, Gray, if you can click delete there, that'll help me. You can delete. I don't think I can delete Matab. I can't delete his. Maybe I can. I don't think I can, though. Let's see. That's in... Yeah, and that's in my analytics. In the upper right, in my analytics. And then you can sort here by date. That'll help you find the most recent one. Let's see if we can get... We're gonna have to come up with a new workflow to make this work. I guess I could delete. I guess what you're saying, Matab, what you're saying is I could just delete the whole challenge and repost it. I guess I could do that. I mean, worst comes to worst, I can do that. That way, at least we can run the tutorial. Yeah, maybe I'll just do that. See what kind of chaos that causes, right? Oh, he was talking to Gray. Yeah, that makes sense too. Ready? Okay. Let's see if that was it. Stand by. Testing systems. All systems testing. I'm still getting the error. Let's see. Yeah, I'm still getting the error. Crud. All right, that's all right. We'll figure it out. I'm gonna just delete the whole thing and try it again. Yeah, that's all right. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Don't worry. Don't worry, guys. It's all good. We can figure this out. We can do this. We're pros here. I do like this challenge. It is a cool challenge, so it's all good. It's all good. This is what we do. All right, let me just take a look here, make sure I got this. And make this one of these. And we'll do one of these. I like how it's got such a tight precision. That's something that I think is really cool. All right, and we'll say one of these, and one of these, and one of these. Why not? So I wasn't the first in this challenge. Yeah, I don't know. We'll never know. Listen, it's the magic of Model Monday Live. Sometimes we get into these spots, you know? It's all good. We just got to figure out a better workflow. That's what it really is. We got the problem is that the workflow like incentivizes you to really quickly to break the system ultimately, right? To like really quickly copy and paste and land in there underneath that threshold. And the threshold won't let me go below 1 second. So it's like inevitable that this is going to keep happening, but it's good. You know, in engineering, we want to try to look for those kinds of vulnerabilities and fix them, right? Fix them sooner rather than later. So it's all good. I'm totally not worried. We're going to be fine. We're going to be fine. Okay, let's go. What was it? I think it's this. It looks like somebody already answered this, so and it's like cleared through. I'm just gonna answer it just to like make sure that we don't blow it up again. Okay. Cool. Build 123D. Nice. Very nice. All right, cool guys. Listen, I'm gonna just kind of like reset a little bit. I'm gonna drink a little bit of my coffee and then let's solve this thing in Onshape and see if we can learn anything cool about 3D CAD. So welcome, as always, to Model Monday Live. And one of the things we do each week on Model Monday Live is we host a live solve of one of the challenges. What we do is we post a very special challenge. So you see here, it says Access Full Library. So we're going to go in here to Access Full Library. And once we do this, once we go into Access Full Library, we can see this is where we can access our library of over 300 of these 2D to 3D CAD challenges. So you can look at a 2D drawing and you can attempt to turn that into a 3D model using any 3D CAD system. You can enter in the mass, and if the mass is correct, you'll earn a point on our leaderboard. And if the mass is not correct, then you have to continue trying. One of the fun things about these challenges is that you can see here that 100 people have solved this one, and it's got an average time of 19 minutes and 53 seconds. So that makes it fun because it makes it, it gives you a goal to strive for. See if you can solve it in under the average time. And with 100 people solving this, we have a pretty nice sample set there, so you can kind of figure out where you land against the field. So there's usually about 10 challenges that are totally for free for anybody who's getting started. And then if you like that, you can unlock the entire library. But each week we work with a sponsor, and right now our sponsor is Xometry. You can visit them at xometry.com. You can actually save some money with a coupon code here on your first order. And what our sponsor does is helps us put up some challenges that are free for everyone to try and retry again, kind of get the full experience of Practice Models Premium. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to say that I want to try this challenge here. This one's called 26-03-08. And while I'm solving it, our amazing chat pros are also trying to solve this live during this live episode of Model Monday Live. So you can see here that I'm going to say, try this one. You can see 8 people have tried it so far. The solve time's really not that accurate on this one yet. We need to get into, like 50, 60 users to really get this to average out, because right now they've gotten a sneak peek of this challenge before they've actually logged into the app. But you can see here that I'm going to say try again, and we're going to try to solve this thing using Onshape. So here we go. We're going to reveal the drawing in 3, 2, 1, go. And so the question here for this drawing is, what is the mass of this multi-body part or assembly in 0.xxx pounds? And the tolerance here is plus or minus 0.001 pounds. So this is kind of a cool part. A lot of times when we are creating these models for the library, we walk around the office or we walk around the house and we find actual real-world components and we try to model them up. And what makes this component kind of interesting is that we've got this threaded insert. We've got this threaded insert on the bottom. Okay, and then there's a hole on top here for this machine screw to hold these two components together. And what's kind of cool is that in order for these two components together, they really can't go together with a true one-to-one fit. You need to incorporate some kind of a gap between those components to fit them together. Very common in woodworking. And then finally on the bottom here, you see we've got some extra components that are of a different material. So we're going to work in some multi-material into this design. So it's always fun to look at parts that exist in the real world and then see if you can't model them up in 3D CAD. So for this model here, I think what I'll probably do is I'll start by creating these circles here. I'll probably just make all 4 of them because it's really easy to lock a circle to a quadrant, and then I'll make them all equal to one another, and I'll give them a 1-inch diameter. Now, this challenge is in inches and pounds, so I have to remember to set my workspace units to inches before I get too deep into the challenge. And then what I'll do is after I've got those 4, essentially those 4 posts extruded, well, one thing is the post is extruded to 7.5 millimeters high, or inches high, but it's also starting at an offset of 0.25. So it's really only going up 7.25 from that 0.25 offset. So I'll probably incorporate that into that first extrusion. And then I'll create that second extrusion, which is for these feet. You can see the feet here are concentric to the post, and it looks like the feet have a diameter of 0.9 inches. So 0.9 inch feet, and then we'll extrude them back down that 0.25 inches. That should give us the geometry for the feet. Now we're going to get to the point where we're ready to blend these two together. And there's a couple ways you could do this. One way would be to maybe create a new sketch plane, 3.25 inches up from the bottom. And then after you create that sketch plane, you could create this shape here. You could create this like plus shape, or you could create, 2 rectangles, or, however you want to do it. That's definitely one way to create that geometry. And then you could extrude that geometry up to 1 inch. But another way to create this geometry would be just to sketch here on what is essentially the right plane and the front plane. So we could create a rectangle here, and then create a smaller rectangle on the inside for that notch, and that's going to give us the geometry for that brace. And then we could do the same thing over here on this view. And I think of the two, this is actually probably a little easier, even though you would do it in 2 separate sketches. I just think it's going to be easier to get those notch shapes in place if we do it this way. So I think that's going to be the method that I'm going to use, and that's going to leave me with an incorrect answer, because I have not yet gone in and added in that counter bore on the top and then the counter bore on the bottom for the threaded insert. So then we're going to try to make sure that we add that. And of course, we've also got this chamfer here at the top of these posts. Now, a different way of doing this might be to create the post and create the foot at the bottom and then do a circular pattern of those. That would certainly work as well. I think either method is fine. It just depends on how complicated the geometry gets. It's really easy just to add those chamfers in all 4 spots. It's really easy to add those 4 circles at the bottom. So, I think you can make the argument to go either way, but it's always good to make a pattern. Patterns are always, a good solution and help you keep your geometry consistent. So now that we've got this geometry, now that we've got this game plan in place, so I know we took about 3.5 minutes to come up with a game plan, but I think it's always important to come up with a game plan before you jump into your 3D CAD. And if you agree, be sure to hit the like button on this video. Now we're going to click this open in a new window. That way we can make this view of the drawing a little bit bigger. We can drag this over to our second monitor. And now I'm going to move this over to this side of the screen so we can kind of keep an eye on the clock. And let's jump into Onshape here and see if we can make some magic here, see if we can make this thing happen. So here we are in Onshape. And in Onshape, what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose to create a new document. I'm going to call this 26-03-08 stand for plant pot. And if you guys are interested in looking up this model, I am going to create this in the public space. So if you get stuck trying to create this, or if you just want to see what my history tree looks like, you can log into Onshape either using a free account or a paid account, and then you can actually take a look at my model here. So now that I've got that geometry in place, or that starting document in place here, first thing I'm going to do is click up here and go into Workspace Units. Okay, I see Robin in the chat says, I love inches and pounds and seconds. So we're going to say here that we're going to be working in inches and pounds here, and we're going to hit the green check mark, and then we're going to go to the top plane, begin a new sketch, and I'm going to press N to get normal 2. Here I'm using the letter S on my keyboard to bring up my S key menu, a common menu that we use in Onshape, and we're going to create a circle here that has a diameter of 10 inches. And then once we create that circle with the diameter of 10 inches, we can click on that circle and press Q, and that's going to make that circle for construction. And so now I'm going to go back to the circle command, and I'm going to drop in a circle here on this quadrant, and I'll make that circle 1 inch. And now how do I know I'm dropping it on the quadrant? Well, it's horizontal to the origin, and it's coincident to the circle. It's vertical to the origin and coincident to the circle. It's horizontal to the origin and coincident to the circle. Then I'm going to hit escape, and then once I hit escape there, I'm going to click on this, and this. So see, 4 things are selected. I'm going to press E on my keyboard, E for equal. Now those are all equal. S on my keyboard, and then jump into extrude. And then for this extrude, what I'm going to be doing here, whoops, I want this to be a solid extrude. What I'm going to be doing with this extrusion is I'm going to be bringing it up to a height of 7.25 inches, and I'm going to set a starting offset here of 0.25 inches. So instead of starting right on the top plane, I'm going to start just a little bit off from the top plane, 0.25 off from the top plane. Now what I can do is I can pick here on one of these faces and begin a new sketch and get normal 2. And then I can create the other 4 circles. So right here, right at the center, make a circle here, 0.9, and then just kind of repeat what I did a moment ago. Make this circle here, this circle here, this circle here. Now, like I said, you could also certainly create the one setup here, like the post and the circle and the chamfer, and then you could just do a circular pattern. I just think that this geometry comes together so quickly, it's kind of a marginal decision. So I'm going to go extrude here. This is going to be 0.25, and then we do want to add new parts down here in the parts list. So that means that here in the extrude command, we have to make sure that we're choosing new and not add. We're not trying to merge to the existing bodies. We're trying to make these 4 new parts here. So now I've got those 4 plastic feet on the bottom. Now we're ready to create maybe the chamfer that's up on the top here. So S key chamfer. One of the things I love about Onshape compared to SolidWorks, where I came from, is that we can do fillets and chamfers on multiple bodies simultaneously, where in SolidWorks I would get blocked from this. It would say you can't do it to multiple bodies at the same time. So that's going to be a chamfer of 60 by 45 degrees per the dimension call out. And there we go. Now we've got that chamfer on those 4 posts. So now I'm going to press Shift 1. And that takes me into a front view, and then I'm going to choose the front plane, and I'm going to begin a new sketch here on the front plane, and then I'm going to create a rectangle using the center point rectangle command. Now, why center point rectangle? Because I can create this rectangle directly above the origin here, vertical to the origin, center point rectangle like so, and then for the width of this, I could make it like 10 inches, kind of match that circle diameter that I created at first, and then for the height of this, I can make this 1 inch. And there we go, there's that rectangle. And then I could add in a dimension here that goes from the base, or a little trick I like to use when I'm working in Onshape is you can dimension from a plane. So I'll go from this plane here to that rectangle, and I'll say that I want that to be a distance of 3.25. Now what I can do is I can create another center point rectangle, again, vertical to the origin, like so. Okay, and then for this one is going to use a width here of 0.55. And then the height here is going to be 0.5. And then I can make that rectangle coincident or collinear to the original rectangle. And so there we go. There's our rectangle with the notch. S key extrude. And then here I'm going to press the space bar. The space bar will clear my selections and set me up so that I can then click here in this region to get the extrude with the notch. For the depth here, the depth is going to be 0.5. And then I'm going to press tab, 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 tab to get down to symmetry. And then I'll press the space bar to make sure that that thing is going symmetric. The final thing I'm going to do here, this is a little bit different from the 4 plastic feet. The final thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to make this an add. And I'm going to say I want it to merge scope. I'm going to say I want this to add, and I want it to merge with this post and this post. And so that gives me the notch for this part coming down from the top. And so, or coming up from the bottom. And so now I'm just going to kind of rinse and repeat from the right plane. So right plane, begin a sketch, get normal 2, center point rectangle. We're going to make sure that this is vertical to the origin. 10, enter, 1, enter. We're going to create another center point rectangle, again, vertical to the origin here. Okay, vertical to the origin. And we're going to make this one 0.55 and 0.5. And now this one's going to be a little different because now this is going to be coincident to that upper line. So I for coincident there. And then we'll add a dimension from the top plane to this lower edge here. And that dimension is 3.25. Of course, we could also make that collinear to the previous sketch or do other things to link the two together. Extrude, and this is going to be tab, 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 0.5. Tab, 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 symmetric. And then this is going to be an add, and the merge scope is going to be these 2 posts, this post and this post. And so hopefully that leaves us with these 2 wooden components that can be brought together. Although it looks like, what did I do? I did it as an extrude instead of a remove. There we go. Little, oh, no. I wanted that to be an extrude. What did I do? Oh, I picked the entire sketch. That's what happened. I forgot to do that step where I clicked the space bar to clear this. Forgot to do that step where I click the space bar. So space bar, that clears that, and then just pick this region. There we go. That looks better. See, before they were overlapping. Now we can see that gap. That's what I'm talking about. All right, and then what we can do is we can go over here to this part and this part in the parts list here. Go to those 2, and we're going to right click and we're going to say assign material for 2 parts. And then once we say we want to assign that material, that's going to come from the TTT custom material, and it's going to be this American cherry. So that's there's a video on how to set up your materials if you don't have the TTT custom materials, or TooTallToby.com/materials. So we'll take these 4 down here and we'll say assign material for 4 parts. And then we'll go in here to the TTT custom materials and we'll make those out of ABS. Okay, and this thing's looking pretty good, right? We didn't miss anything. We didn't forget about anything. So now we're going to go to the mass properties and we're going to select all of these bodies here. And we're coming up with a mass here of 0.673 pounds. So we go back into the app here and we type that in, 0.673, and enter. And oh, we got it wrong. Incorrect. Your answer, 0.673 pounds, is not within the specified tolerance. And this is the cool thing about the app, is that you get this feedback right away. So you're able to see the clock is still running, and you're able to go through and say, like, well, what did I do wrong? What did I miss? So we go through, we look at the drawing, and then we realize, oh, we forgot about the counter bores. Counter bore on the bottom, counter bore on the top. We forgot about that. Wow. That little tiny cut in the wood is going to be enough to knock us out of spec, huh? So we cancel out of this menu here, and then we go front plane, begin a sketch, N key to get normal to, and now we're going to create the geometry for that counter bore. So S key line, make sure you're vertical to the origin. I like to make this line a construction line when I'm doing a revolve or a cut revolve, and then we're going to create the geometry for the counter bore. So we'll come over here, we'll come down. Usually I do kind of like a hybrid of adding dimensions versus not adding dimensions. So like I'll come down here at 0.25 and add that dimension, but I won't add the dimension for the diameter of the holes, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to dimension them off the construction line. So we'll come over here, we'll come down this way. This one's going to have a depth of 0.125 for that counter bore. We're going to come over here, and then we're going to close this sketch off by coming back up to the top here. And then we could jump into dimension, and we could say this diameter for the upper counter bore, that diameter is 0.375. This one for the hole, so dimension to the construction line, and then come over to get the double dimension, 0.25 for the hole. And then this one for the lower counter bore, 0.420. Okay, and then the final thing we just need to do is just align these to the geometry of these crossbars. So you could do that just by making them coincident to that crossbar. So hit escape, this point, this crossbar I, this point, oops, this point, this point, this crossbar I, kind of get them lined up. And now we're ready to turn that into a remove. So we say revolve, remove. And then for the revolve axis, you can choose this line here. And then for the merge scope, you're going to say, I want it to affect this and this part and this part. So that we're adding the counter bore to both of those parts at the same time. And it's kind of related, and it's a great way to design when you're doing multi-part design in a single part studio. So now we hit the check mark, and now we go here to our mass properties, and then we look at this whole thing, and now we're coming up with a mass of 0.671. That can't be it, right? It's only 0.002 different. So back that off, 0.67. Oh yeah, we did it. Let's go. And so that is how you are able to go through and solve these challenges at TooTallToby.com. And that is how you can kind of look at something that exists in the real world and then take that something and move it into 3D CAD. And it's a great thing to do. You know, a lot of times what people do is they ask, you know, what's a good way to learn 3D CAD? A good way to do it is to kind of look for things that exist around the office or things that exist around the house and try to turn them into 3D CAD models. It's fun. It's fun to see how realistic you can make them look. So we'll submit that answer, and that does it for that challenge. And now what we can do, or normally what we could do at this point, is we could go back through and we could look at what's called the first 42. So you can see here that so far on this challenge, we've had 10 people successfully solve this challenge. Of course, most of the people had a chance to look at the model ahead of time and kind of get a sneak preview. But the thing is, if we look here at the first 42, this gives us a list of when people solved it compared to when the model was released. So you can see here that Jern solved this thing 24 seconds after the model was released. Kayvon came in here and solved this thing 38 seconds after the model was released. Toby solved this thing 43 seconds after the model was released. Well, that was just a little bit of testing. It was a little bit glitchy here today, but I think it was probably Gray who got it, who got the point. So I'm going to talk it over with my my team, kind of behind the scenes a little bit here. We're going to look and see if we can see in the database, if we can see who submitted the answer first. And if we can determine that through the actual data, we will give the point to the appropriate person. But for now, I just want to say GG to anybody who finished this thing in that limited amount of time that we had together. It is not easy to solve these models. So good job, good game. And Matab here rocking Fusion. Normally Matab is rocking SolidWorks, but maybe he's getting himself ready for the big upcoming tournament. So congratulations to everybody who made it onto this board. Congratulations to Jern, to Kayvon, to Enordi, to Larry, to B Dayton, to Casca, to H11R, and to Matab, and to Fun Guy. Congratulations to everybody who got in here and solved this model. You know, it's not easy to solve these models in the limited amount of time we have together, and very well done to everybody who did that. And guys, congratulations to everybody who solved it in the chat as well. Don't forget to join the party. You can join us over at Practice Models Premium. But that's going to do it for that tutorial. If you enjoyed that tutorial, be sure to hit the like button on the video. And let me know if you have any questions down below in the comments. And the correct answer for that one was 0.671 pounds, plus or minus 0.001 pounds. So that 0.673 did knock it out of scope. Interesting, interesting. All right, guys. Well, listen, that's going to do it for today's episode of Model Money Live. Congratulations to the winners. I think it was Matab who got the first point, right? It was Matab that got the first point, or was it Gray? Matab and Gray just battling it out today. But GG to whoever got the first point today, and we'll find out for sure who got the second point. We'll take a look behind the scenes and see if we can't figure it out in the data. But GG to everybody who got this one, and guys, I'll look forward to seeing everybody next week. We're going to be back next week. We got a lot of announcements coming up. Next week, we're going to have our first episode of the tournament, the Fusion-only tournament. If you want to see, if you enjoy speed running and you want to see some pretty cool speed running, you can go here, TooTallToby.com/tournaments, and then you can go down here to where it says register, qualify here. This is for the Fusion tournament. And you can see here we've got the leaderboard for the tournament, including their speed running videos. So if you want to see Neil Z do all 3 models in 1 minute and 36 seconds. This is pretty cool stuff. Pretty cool stuff. If you want to see Matab do all 3 models in 2 minutes and 16 seconds in Fusion, you can just go here and watch these videos. These videos are all public, and you can see some of the fastest Fusion users out there modeling through these challenges. So, like I said, tournament registration ends tomorrow. Tournament begins next Friday. And guys, thank you so much for joining us. Next week, we're going to have another episode of Model Monday Live, so I hope you'll join us for that. And we will also have the tournament next week. And what a fun way to start the week. A little bit of a glitch, I know. We'll see if we can't figure out what's going on with that glitch. But a really fun way to start the week, and really awesome hanging out with all of you CAD enthusiasts here in the chat. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your Monday, and I hope you have a great rest of the week. And I will see you in the next TooTallToby live stream. See you, everybody.